Welcome to Kate Was Here, an improvised storytelling experiment written and performed by Doug Banks and Kat Blackard. To support this and other surprise RPG experiences, head to patreon.com/omniversemedia.
Clara is like, she's trying to leave, and they pull a gun on her. They're like, you don't go anywhere, mister. We're looking for Kyle Reese. He killed our brother. And she's like, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know what Kyle Reese. And Doc is like landing now. If you want to like sort of duck, stay out of sight, and let Doc kind of, this is what you like to do. But Doc is itching to open up the side of the basket here and hop out and rush over to Clara. He says, don't shoot, and as he's lowering down.
I've put on my gloves.
You can in the meantime, yeah.
And I've got my Omni tool in my pocket, and I don't want anything to happen to Doc or Clara.
Well, of course, yeah.
So they could lie for me, but it ain't gonna last too long.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, hey fellas, how was the pokey?
They're gonna see you there, and they have their guns up. Is that you, Reese? It's hard. It's a little dark. Hard to see.
Well, Happy New Year, boys. Sure is.
Not so happy for some. Why don't you step out where we can see you? Nice and slow like.
Sure thing. My hands are up.
Mm-hmm. As you step out, they got their guns trained on you. And he's like, you shot our brother in cold blood. What's to say I don't mow you down right where you stand?
Is that what they told you? That was Beretta. Beretta had beef with him.
Why would Beretta have beef with him unless you said something?
I didn't say a damn thing.
Ah, and then, ain't what I heard. Ain't what I heard at all.
Well, that's fine. That's what you heard. It's what I heard. All I know is it was in my interest to take your brother in alive. It's $25 I could have had.
If he put up a struggle, you would have shot him. You had no problem threatening me and my life of my brother John.
That's true, but all the same, and I would have, it was still in my best interest to take you in alive. So I did.
That's too thin, Reese. That's too thin.
Oh, it's
Don't
always
sit with me.
You rode all the way out here. It was always going to be too thin. What you want to do about it? You're calling me out. What you want to do about it?
He's gonna snap his fingers over to one of his men, who's gonna toss him a 6-shooter, and he's gonna hop off his own horse, and he's gonna throw one in the dirt at your feet, and he's gonna step over to the other side, and make motions that he wants people to step aside. He wants a fair shot. He wants a fair.
We ain't even gonna shake first.
Shake for what?
Well, where I come from, when you're about to engage in a duel with somebody, you shake hands and you walk 12 paces to either side. I thought you were a gentleman.
Ain't nothing gentlemanly about you, Reese. It's like you wonder if you wonder what does he exactly mean, but hard to be sure.
How far away is he?
He's backing up. I mean, right now it's probably 15, 20 feet, but he wants to make more space.
Okay.
And Doc's looking at you like wide-eyed, like he can't say anything, but it's clearly he's not can't approve of this at all. But at the same time, there's lives being threatened.
Yeah, this is pretty straightforward, isn't it?
He says, so Doc will be like,
put on the 6-shooter.
Yeah, he says, so you start putting it on?
Yep.
He says, he's like, so he'll come over, like he'll come over like he's gonna pretend like he's helping you adjust your belt. He's like, okay, I can't do this if you. It's not enough if you get shot, but what if he dies here? That's it's unforeseen consequences that could happen.
He's a criminal. What does it matter? I don't know what happened to them in prior timelines. You know, his brother died because of my actions. So, I don't know. The most important part is that you're alive and Clara's alive. I've been shooting Doc. I've been trained by the best. So, if I can...
And what's to say the other goons won't shoot you the moment he hits the ground?
It's a good question, but unless you've got some surprises in store, I don't see any other options here. I don't have, all my gizmos are short range. They're keeping a safe distance. And they don't even know what I've got packing. They don't even know about me.
He says, you have the gloves on you?
Mm-hmm.
Are you wearing them?
I'm wearing them. I put them on when we were descending.
He says,
I've got the Omni tool in my pocket. Like I could do all kinds of stuff if I got close.
So he's gonna tighten your belt and act like it's giving him some trouble as he like whispers to you. He says, I'm gonna tell him to search you. Keep your hands up. And when he gets close to search you, or if anyone does, you give him a shock, and I'll grab anyone else that's close by, and then you grab Clara and get in the balloon.
Okay.
So it says, Mr. Vogel, was it? Yeah? He says, now, I know you were worried about things not being gentlemanly-like, but you've scared my wife, and we want to keep things civil. We have no quarrel with you whatsoever. This is our property, but I won't deny you the chance for revenge if Mr. Reese did indeed do as you said. I think it's only fair that an impartial party sort of overview things. And as part of this, I think it would be best in your personal safety, best interest is search Mr. Reese, make sure he's not holding out a second piece, because how can we trust the one that you just gave him?
And I look upset. I'm like,
yeah.
Why would you?
He says, keep your hands up, son of a bitch.
Fine.
So Bill's going to snap and motion to one of the other men, who's not his other brother, to hop down. And this is just a skinny-looking dude. He's going to hop down and come over, and he's going to start patting you on, like, the ankles and, like, working up, like, up the legs there. And he's got his head's kind of down. He's, like, looking around to make sure you don't have anything else on you. So you're feeling like there's an opening if you want to give whatever you want to do. Want to give it a go.
Okay. So where's he at?
He's directly in front of you. His head's down, and he's, like, searching your knees, working his way up your legs.
Okay. Both hands down, on his head, full charge.
Okay. Let's do a quick.
I rolled a 2.
You pull both hands down, zap, and he yells like, yeah! And he falls down, and everyone's just like, what the hell was that? Because he's like down, he's like spazzing, like, because he's electrocuted and is like stunned and is possibly knocked out.
I look up slowly, like with electricity arcing between my fingers.
And in that threatening moment, someone else another guy is gonna run over to try and get to him. But Doc is gonna, as this guy like comes to slide in, Doc is gonna give him a punch, like just Old West right hook style. Punches this dude. I'm gonna roll for that in a second. Let's see here.
And I shout Doc, and I flick him the Omni tool, so he can like catch it, because it's got lasers on it and shit. So.
Oof, Doc rolled a 0. So, Doc...
Doc.
It's okay, though. It's okay. So, Doc punches this guy, oof, and this guy falls down, and he, like, clenches his jaw, and Doc just goes, on his hand. It's because he just punched this dude, and he really hurt his hand.
Am I close to that?
Yeah, you're close enough.
Okay, then instead of flicking the tool, I could do a one-hand, like, other blast to that guy, like get, touch that guy, fling him away. And
sure.
Doc told me to run for Clara, so
so I won't make you roll for that because he left you an opening on that. So I can just give that so he can be shocked. So you can run over and grab Clara, and you're gonna run into the balloon.
Yeah.
All right, and then Doc is gonna dive over to like a little horse trough, like a little water space where they would tie up like horses right outside the house, and behind it he's gonna have a gun hidden.
Nice.
And he's gonna get up and he's gonna fire off a couple of like warning shots. So, he's not interested in killing anybody, but he's gonna fire off a couple, and the horses will like freak out, and so some of them are gonna start to like run, but a couple of them he's just like, it's like, no, you cowards! And then so this guy's gonna start taking off, trying to get a couple of shots off as you guys are getting into the balloon. But Doc is gonna hop in right after you and pull the thing and get this thing going. And as long as you duck underneath the basket, which is pretty thick, it seems like it. I mean, it's not gonna be perfect for cover, but at the very least, this guy can't see you, and it has probably enough of a deflection on it.
Did Doc have a rifle?
He does have a rifle, but it's not on him. It's
okay.
It's not on him right now. I will say it's he actually probably has it in the balloon, but we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So as you're going up further and further, these guys are sort of like regrouping down there. There's like an argument and stuff, and the wind is picking up a little bit. So you're getting a little about as high as you were when they first started to arrive. And then it just becomes a thing where the balloon starts moving away, and Doc is like not sure if like like, what do we do? So he's going to flip open. There's the long box that he has in there, along with the scope that he had. It's going to be the Winchester rifle that you saw earlier with like the scope on it and like all the lenses that already been put together.
Wow. Okay.
But now what's going to happen is, as the wind starts to move you a little bit away, just not fast, but enough to where these guys are on the horses and they're going to start coming after you. So they're going to be following below, and it's either going to be about getting altitude or distance here on how exactly how this is going to go. We're not quite sure. And Clara is like scared, but is just happy that no one's hurt just yet. So as they're coming up, and you're getting a little bit more altitude, but the wind's still pretty horizontal, so you're making a decent distance. Like you're keeping the distance between you and them. But they're gonna start opening fire, just trying to take pot shots at this balloon as it's getting away.
Yeah. So
you have the 6-shooter at least that Doc brought, and Doc has his rifle. What would you like to do with this situation?
I think I'm gonna kick some ass with that rifle. I have the tools. I have the talent.
Okay. So you like, Doc, give me the rifle. So he'll hand it over.
Yeah. How many of them are there?
5 total.
Wow. Well, let's see if I can freak them out enough to go back the fuck off. I guess this will be. No, I don't know what it's like. Let's use a perfect shot. To like let it be known that they're like whoever's out in front. I'm gonna take them out in a way that could destabilize the rest of their group, and then I'll keep trying to do that until they back the fuck off.
All right, sounds good.
Or if I can, there's still a Vogel brother like up, right? Like at least one.
At this point, I'd say they've shaken enough stuff off where they're like all 5 are after you.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
I'm not, but from this distance, I can't identify anybody.
It's
right?
hard to tell, but you imagine the guy, it's the guy out front's probably the one that's most pissed off.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're going down.
Mm-hmm.
How would you like me to roll for this?
Well, I'd imagine you'd want to be careful and aim carefully.
Yeah.
Instead of quickly or something like that.
But then I guess if I'm playing perfect shot in this context, then I just do it. It's a stunt.
Is that to be honest, like, the system I'm not sure. So like we could just say yeah, but I don't because I remember when you were trying to take the perfect shot with the laser gun. Did that add to your roll as opposed to?
I mean, that's a million years ago at this point. Yeah. I don't know.
Or it's 90 years, 100 years later. That's 100 years from now.
Yeah.
Like, literally 100 years from now that happened.
I rolled a careful and I rolled a 1.
Okay. I'm gonna add 2 to that because you're doing your perfect shot at least, just to give you something.
Yeah.
I'll say because you're in a hot air balloon and they're on horseback.
I've got these scopes. I don't know how like
the scopes are good.
Those scopes with my like improved skill. I'm not really sure how improved that is from what I was before, but I mean I'm willing to like make a show of this. I guess I'll take whatever clear shot I can get, but this guy's going down.
Sure. So I'll say with that roll plus the 2 that you get, you fire the shot, and it looks like you hit him because he's like he stops and he kind of hunches over for a second, but he's still riding.
Oh god. All right.
Because I'm adding in negatives for
sure
for all the stuff, but you at least landed a hit on a moving target, like from all that. So
yeah.
Before you do your next thing, you can think about your next thing, but before you roll your next thing, I want to roll for them. Oof. Okay.
Yikes.
So
3.
So I'll say in addition to hitting some of the like around the basket and stuff like that, I'll say one of them is eventually just gonna there's a couple holes that go through the balloon. Rips the balloon overhead. It's not the end of the world, but it just sort of makes you realize, like if this has too many holes in it,
yeah,
we're going down. So at that point, Doc will like stand up and try and get more heat going to get a little more air, just to change the angle so it's not quite as not quite as uneven ground here.
Yeah.
And you find yourself getting a little further away from Hill Valley, like you were going towards it and away from it, kind of diagonally away from the homestead, but still keeping a similar distance to Hill Valley while getting further away from the homestead. So what would you like to do next? You're ready to roll for?
I'm gonna take another shot. Here I go.
Same target?
Same target. Oh, God damn it! I won.
This is a clean miss on that one. But I will say that when that goes past, you see that the horses, they like, woof, they kind of like spread out a little bit. So there's like a wider, they're not clumped together as they were.
Okay. I would like. I mean, if you're rolling for them again, go for it. Otherwise, I'll step into what comes next.
Ooh.
Oh no! He rolled a 5.
Let's make this interesting. Doc is up there going, pulling the thing. I'm gonna say instead of Doc, because he's standing, he's like the most visible target. Instead of Doc getting hit, I'm gonna say one of the ropes that's on the basket attaching it to the balloon is gonna snap from getting grazed by a bullet. So the basket lurches a little bit down at an angle.
Okay, fuck. Okay, that's really bad.
So the balloon is still going, but the basket's at an angle, and it's gonna jostle everyone around. And Clara is like slid across the bottom of it, and it doesn't fall out, but is like, that's scary. It's a scary moment. And then he'll like, so then Doc has to let go of the flame thing to protect his wife. So you're not gonna be raising any more altitude while you're taking care of her.
Yeah. I'm gonna spend a fate point, and put my all into like exhaling, focusing, and making one hell of an incredible shot. Maybe
cool.
like whatever it takes to to destabilize this whole posse. If I see any opportunities to do so, any obstacles that are gonna if I shoot it at this right time, it's gonna be extra worse. The horse is gonna stumble or something like that. To really fuck them up. So here we go. I rolled a 0.
Well, the fate point automatically adds 2.
Yeah.
So what you rolled is a 2. I'll say you fire off another shot. I'll say if you're aiming for the same target was the goal.
The goal was to if the same target seems like the one that's going to be most disruptive because they're still in the lead, then yeah.
I'll say in that case, the one what you can get instead of that the lead rider, you can see one that's off to the side that was gaining ground, and you saw that there was an opportunity where if you shot him and got either around him or you got him to stumble, there was a patch of rocks that he was going for, so that horse is going to take a tumble and fall. So they got one rider down, and you got four horses still after you.
Okay.
And I'll do another one for them.
I had such good rolls.
Okay, they rolled another 2, so that's gonna hit the basket, sort of jostle everyone. Claire flinches. Doc is gonna try to get her out of the way. Now you're the only one who's been firing back, so I think Doc at this point is gonna try to pull up the pistol and see what.
Yeah, hand Doc's pistol.
Just take a quick shot. So I'm gonna do the same for him.
-1. Wow.
Ugh. I'll say he goes to shoot and it's a misfire.
All right. I'm rolling my careful again. I wish I was rolling something better. I don't know. That's the one, right? That's got to be it. That's the shooting roll, right? Careful.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a 2.
Again, you can fire off another shot. You're not sure if you hit. It looks like you may have winged another person who was gaining ground after the one guy fell off the horse. One guy who wasn't paying. Look, as the dude fell off, the horse took a tumble, and this guy's like, "Hey, so and so, you fell!" Not looking up at you. Probably winged that guy.
Okay.
It's intense. Just it's because this is so evenly rolled. It's it's been so close with all the inches here or there. Okay, so I'll say with their rolls, that's just a clean miss. They're not getting anything from you. But I will say that because no one is increasing the altitude, there is a slow descension happening. So you're at the point now where it's going to start descending, and you'll be more on even ground with them. not immediately, but it's a concern that you're realizing that you're sinking and not raising anymore.
Right. You know, that's fine. That maybe make my shop get better for a little bit, and I can do some good.
I'll as it sinks a little lower, I'll add a bonus to that just because it's getting you closer technically.
Yeah. Oh fuck. I have exhausting my final fate point to
re-roll that.
to re-roll a -1. The result is only a 1. Thank you. Fate.
You fire again. It looks like you may have grazed someone. You're not sure. You didn't see much of a reaction. So at this point, Doc is going to say, "Is this a, hang on, Clara, hang on!" And he's going to get up and he's going to try and pull the heat again because again, just trying to get you up out of there.
Yeah.
So he's going to forfeit any movements he's going to do, and I'm going to have them do a roll or have them take a shot. Okay, I'm gonna say they take a shot, but they're getting close. They're like hitting like the basket where Claire is. She's not hit, she's fine, but she's like screeching, like like just that, like particles of the basket go flying, and she's like screaming because bullets are flying around her, and everyone's still okay. So with this, I'll say
fuck the old West.
Yeah. Doc is pulling it a little higher, and you're getting higher and higher, so we're getting a little bit more of an advantage. They're getting a little bit more of a disadvantage. If you want to go again, I will give you another advantage because we're starting to make some serious altitude now.
Okay. A 0. God damn. This is terrible.
That's okay. I mean, you're doing your best, and that just looks like another clear miss. But you're making a little bit more progress altitude-wise. And it looks like they're starting to fall behind. They're firing, but you're starting to get that distance. So depends if you want to try another shot just for the fuck of it or what. But otherwise, you're starting to get a little far away.
Yeah, I'll try one more. I mean, I'm worried. The thing is, like, we could get a safe distance, chuck me out of this thing, and I can go back in time. That still leaves Doc and Claire to deal with these fuckers, and I don't, I don't trust that. That's terrible. So, yeah. Here we go. One more. I got a 2 this time.
With a 2, I'll say you do hit one of them. It doesn't look like it's the main head guy, but another one just falls off his horse. Done. So this is there's 3 riders now. I'm gonna have them roll again, and I'm gonna have one of them try a little harder. Oh, okay. So I'll say one of them you noticed actually after the one that you shot.
Oh no!
So after the one that you shot,
yeah,
fell. The 3 of them, 2 are gonna keep going. 1 is gonna stop, and it looks like he's taking aim. He slings up a rifle and he's gonna take a real careful aim. And as he takes a real careful aim, a shot's gonna ring out.
Do I see this like through the scopes?
You can, but this is like you through the scopes as you're like looking, and as you got the one guy. This guy takes a shot, fires it off, and it's gonna come up and it's gonna hit another one of the ropes, like right by where Clara is, and Clara is gonna be like laying on her side, and her feet are gonna start to slip, like she's about to dangle and fall out of this basket that's slipped down even more. So you're even more at a diagonal incline where Clara is in danger of falling out, and she screams, "Emmett, Kate!" And she's going for it.
I'm gonna do it quick to get her. Mm-hmm. I rolled a 5. There we go.
So she's dangling, and you reach out, you put the rifle down, and you grab her by both hands. You start pulling her butt back in, and you can get her in, but now she's just sort of like on her knees, huddled inside the balloon, and you're very much more exposed now to gunfire. But Doc is just going to lay it on. He's going to keep pulling, and you're going to slowly get more and more altitude out of the way. I'm going to have, if there's anything else you want to do, I know you just rolled to save her. I'm going to roll for them one more time.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying you have to shoot anything or anybody. I'm just saying in terms of, like, you're making some real distance.
Yeah.
Oh, God!
Oh, they rolled a 5.
They rolled a 5. So they're going to hit part of the basket where there's a lot of holes already in it. And that part is going to unravel, and you're going to lose another rope. So now you're at, like, a 45-degree incline, and the box that held the rifle is going to slip out. You and Clara are, like, your feet are over the edge. You're both hanging. So basically, you're both hanging on to each other and to the basket.
Yeah.
Doc is going, "Clara! And he's Kate, and he's holding one on the hand on the heat to keep it going, and he's going to reach out to you because you're closest. But you're going to need to do some kind of move to make sure you grab a hold of him and Doc, of Doc and Clara, to make sure that none of you are sliding out. But if he lets go of this, you're going to start to sink again.
Yeah, I guess I'll do it quick.
Sure. Or maybe even a forceful if you want to forcefully grab him, or how you narrate how you'd like to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that is forceful. You're right. 3.
I'll say because he's right there. It's like whatever. So with the 3, you clasp hands with him, and he's got you, and he's still hanging on to the to the balloon, and you rise up and up and up, and you get far enough out of the range of the gunfire and the horses. It starts to fade away. Looks like they might still be down there, but they're getting out of earshot and everything, and you're starting to get up further over the desert, and looks like it's going to be hard terrain for them too. They've been riding for a minute or so, but now it's getting hilly and rocky and trees and everything like that. So now, between the both of you, let's get a forceful to pull each other into safety. You're not slipping anymore, but now let's get in.
Yeah. I've got a 1.
Oh God, he rolled a -1. So he starts to pull you up, but and you start to get your footing, but your feet slip, and you're back. You're back to 0. You're back to where you were.
Okay.
Do it again.
Okay, 3.
Okay, he rolled a 0. You rolled a 3, so he doesn't really pull you up as much as you start to climb up him. And Clara is right there with you, and it's tough, but you're together, and the wind is blowing and everything up here.
All right.
But you feel like you're okay.
Yeah.
No one's falling out anymore.
Doc, Claire, I'm so sorry about that.
But the Doc is just like, it's all right. Everything's all right. Let's just keep away from the edge here, and as you can take a good look at it for the first time, it's like the side of the basket. It's almost like several shotgun blasts have been taken out of it from all the gunfire it's taking. And when that last one finally hit to where the tie-off or the ropes are, those like anchors that you wrap the rope around, that cleat, as it were, was just lost from being ripped away, because this is all just like woven together. So that's gone, and you're still at a little bit of an incline, but as long as you don't go to that edge of the basket, everything should be fine.
Okay. Folks, are you gonna... We're so far out, like, are you gonna be able to get home, or are we safe? Like, should we call off the experiment and repair and...
He says, if I take us a little higher, the wind should be going in the opposite direction, so we'll come up, maybe even above the clouds, and dip back down over, and everything should be fine.
But if you get back home, these people could be waiting for
It's not about us getting back home, it's about getting you on target for the DeLorean.
Sure.
And then I can even land us after midnight. I'll land us in the middle of town square if I have to, and let the sheriff know.
Fair enough, yeah.
Or rather, the marshal. It would be the marshal at this point. So he'll hit the gas again. You guys rise up and you go up for a little bit, and Clara's just hanging on to Doc and is like relieved and just not really in shock per se, but just very much just like everyone's kind of in stunned silence.
Obviously, I know that she's pregnant, and so I've been very concerned about her like the whole time, because I don't want her to experience like stress that's going to make her have a miscarriage or anything like that. And
Right.
Nothing I can do about the situation other than to
Right.
try to stop it fast, but I've been doing what I can to be comforting and help her feel protected in spite of being so vulnerable.
Sure. But as you go up, because you're going to dip up above the clouds, then come back down once the winds shift in the other direction. It's just kind of serene. It's chilly up here, but it's nice and serene and kind of beautiful. I mean, granted, there's not a lot of moonlight out, but there's enough to where you can see faint lights below of Hill Valley and everything, and much higher than you were expecting to go. But sure enough, the wind will push you in the other direction. You're only up here for a minute, and it starts to bring you back down again, and you can see Hill Valley and maybe what's probably the homestead off in the distance. You're slowly coming back down at a nice, slow diagonal decline. You're gonna end up pretty much back where you started. No sign of the horses, and Doc pulls out his pocket watch, looks at it, and he goes, all right, we still have a few minutes before midnight. I think you'll be fine. And he's, the basket sways and everything. And he says, Clara, I'm so sorry for everything. And she says, Emmett, I'm sorry. I don't know why I felt the need to not say anything, but I'm with child, Emmett. And he just looks and he's like, I that's wonderful. And he lets go. He's already let go of the thing, and he embraces her. But for a second, you think he's almost forgotten his own precariousness, but it's fine. Everything's fine.
If he has, I'm on it.
Yeah. He hugs her and gives her a kiss, and he's speechless. He's for the first time you see him, he doesn't even know what to say. He's just that's the most wonderful thing I've ever heard. I love you. And she's like, I love you too, Emmett. And she's ready to cry, and they're just embracing, and you're just kind of all right, third wheel, but it's cool. This is a great moment. And
very happy for them.
Mm-hmm. So as you around this point, you'll be getting back over to the top of the house. As you're right over the right spot where you need to be, you can check the barometer, and it says that you are 2,600 feet, so you're still 100 feet above where the bare minimum is. Doc says, all right, looks pretty good, and sure enough, some fireworks have started going off over Hill Valley, so he says, let's get you suited up. So
we do.
Mm-hmm. And when you're, you got everything ready, he is going to set the final adjustments on the time circuits on your back once you're suited up.
Okay.
Going this here, putting in the right, because there's no digital touch tones on this. He has to make sure the dates are all correct and wound up. He activates it, and it powers on. It has the same sort of hum that you're used to the hoverboard having. It just sort of just lightly on your back. And he says, all right, Kate, and he puts the helmet on you, and everything's a little bit muffled, but you can still, hear him okay. You can hear fireworks, everything like that okay.
Yep.
He says, remember, 5 seconds. Once you make the jump, then if you travel, open your parachute immediately. And I have you set for December 31st, 2024 at 11:55. So good luck, and I'll see you in the future.
All right. Hopefully I'll see you both real soon. Thank you for everything.
He gives you a hug, and thank you for everything. With the tank on, he gives you a quick hug, and Claire will give you a hug, and then there's an easy exit now. You just sort of step out, and you'll be good to go.
Nothing, and I step out into emptiness.
Mm-hmm. And as you
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi.
So as you are getting closer and closer, we're gonna describe this. You fall. You're going down. You can see the ground rushing up towards you a little bit. And as you count to 5 Mississippi, there's a shock of electricity. You see ground rushing up towards you, but it's not the ground from before. It's definitely technology of some kind.
Here we go.
Yeah. So you pull it. And you find your parachute, it yanks you up, and it knocks the air out of you for a little bit. And as you're looking around, you get a quick look at your surroundings. It looks like you are above a junkyard that stretches for miles. And you're seeing stacks, it's very like the beginning of Blade Runner.
Oh, fuck.
Technology's here, civilization is here, but this just looks like a mess. This is it looks like a landfill as for miles and miles. Just it's all unorganized junk all over the place. And as you are coming down to the ground, you have maybe a minute or so. You see, looking up, and you can open the think on your hood to get a better look. You can see all kinds of strange high traffic things happening above you. It looks not like the regular traffic control, but there's a couple of ships that are looks like they're coming in, and you can see below there's like a landing strip, almost like lights that are blinking for like delivery. It looks like of a junkyard. And as you are slowly descending, sure enough, you can see a large. It just almost looks like the bottom of a ship. Like it's not like a boat flying, but it has like that same type of. It's almost like Star Wars. Like you can't really see what the top of it looks like. A lot of antennas are on top, but the bottom of it is very smooth. And as it comes over, making its pass, some spotlights look out on the ground, and the bottom of it opens up like Bombay doors, just drops garbage like all over, and just like almost like a slow bombing run as it passes, and all this garbage falls and just lands into landfill almost indiscriminately. And as you finally get down to ground level, you can see. I'm just going to deal with you landing first, and you're just on like a pile of junk. I mean, it's not impossible to walk over. It's kind of battened down a bit. You can see that there's a carved trail through all this junk that looks like maybe for cars to go through, or like dump trucks to go through, that sort of thing. So it's like there's clearly some kind of method to the madness here, but you are lost in a junkyard.
So no DeLorean in sight then.
You have about 5 minutes before it's supposed to show up.
Okay.
So you can get the parachute off of you.
Yeah,
you can
and
get
I
the
get
diving.
out of the suit, and and at this point I'm like, all right, like I backpack's on my back, gloves are still on. They've got like a charge and a half left, and I am ready for something, anything. Keep my eyes peeled for those familiar blue sparks.
Mm-hmm. So as you're, you can climb up a little bit, because there's some parts that are almost more like there's peaks and stuff, and you're not really on the peak of one, and there's a couple that are around you, so you can't even get a sense of how far away other civilization is. Like, I mean, it's hard to see how large this junkyard actually is now that you're on the ground, because there's junk piled higher than you are in a lot of places.
Yeah.
I guess it would just make sense that you'd want to get as high as you can to make sure you see the DeLorean when it finally does show up. You can see what looks like large cranes that are operating almost like a giant claw machine game. There's maybe 3 or 4 that you can see spread out. There's a couple that are not very close to you, but close enough to some of the higher piles of stuff around you. And they're the cranes will swivel. They appear to be unmanned, almost like they're operated by either, I don't want to say artificial intelligence, but certainly by like just a robotic intelligence as they swivel around. And as the giant arm swings over something and drops a claw into the ground, you see some scanning lines. It looks like it's scanning something with some sort of laser technology, and then it will take scoops of garbage, like crunching it, and then getting a good grip, picks it up, and then swivels it away and drops it onto what looks like, it's hard to see from your vantage point, but almost like a conveyor belt. And as you look up, you can follow the line of the conveyor belt, and you see what looks like a giant, maybe half a mile away, if not even a little bit less, leads into a tunnel that leads into what's like a large nuclear reactor, and printed on the side of the nuclear reactor is the Mr. Fusion corporate logo. So this is definitely, this is a recycling plant where they're just taking all manner of things, like the same way your Mr. Fusion works.
Interpreting the word recycling very loosely.
True. But it's using fusion technology to take matter of garbage and convert it into energy.
Yeah.
But you can just, that this is bad news in about 20 years, So,
yeah.
So those things will continue, doing their job as you wait. And so it just looks, grim. It's the fact that there's this much garbage. Like, you've seen a landfill before, but this is a whole other.
I mean, also,
level.
Like 10 years prior in my time, this was a town.
Well, it doesn't look like this covers all of Hill Valley. And plus,
Okay.
10 years prior in your time, you didn't see this area of Hill Valley either. But it does look like, if you're up high enough, I will say that you do see signs of like suburbs, and you're like, these suburbs are like, they're a little close to the landfill, but at the same time, this landfill is not like landfills where you're from. because they're converting it into energy, and so it's confusing and depressing as to like what is really going on here. Like, did they clear out homes to make space for garbage? Like, and you remember hearing Doc say something about how trash got really bad, but he didn't elaborate because he surely hasn't seen this. So
this is not the same.
Yeah, so this is not just bad. This is nightmare compared to what he was. He just knew that it got bad. So I'll say that you're there, just witnessing all of this.
I've just got to wait 5 minutes, and then I can do everything possible to get the fuck out of here.
Sure. I'll say you can definitely wait the 5 minutes, and as the time gets closer, you don't. I mean, did you bring a pocket watch with you or anything to measure the time change?
I mean,
or are you just going by instinct in terms of like?
I've got my phone.
That's true. Okay, so if you're looking at your phone, you can start to just check the time and keep an eye up on the sky. Granted, the phone time isn't synced with what this current time is, but you can measure the passage of time in terms of 5 minutes. That's no problem. So I'll say.
Is my phone working, by the way? Do I have a signal? Like, or is it glitching out like it did before when my point of origin phone was not synced up with the satellites and other stuff of this like new origin phone?
It's looking like it might work, but it looks like you're not getting a cell phone signal, but not because of incompatibility, but more of just probably like a weak signal being out here. Because again, you were using a different device, and again, it's kind of hard to tell. If you want to try to make a phone call, you want to try and do something with it.
I mean, if I can get on the internet, if I can do other modern phone stuff.
Because this was the 2016. This was the future 2016 phone.
Yeah.
Not the whatever. It looks like you can get on the internet. Yeah.
Okay. Well, as long as I feel safe where I am and I'm not going to get like picked up by a claw or killed by a guard or a giant rat, maybe, then I'm gonna. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna worry about surfing the web right now and figuring out what the fuck happened to time. I'm just gonna put that away and I'm gonna be very cautious and I'm gonna wait, watching the sky for the DeLorean to show up.
So you're watching and you keep glancing down at the phone, and midnight clicks over. So it is now midnight, January 1st of 2025, and you're looking around just desperately trying to see anything, and just maybe a couple seconds after you hear it, and this thing spins. So the DeLorean arrives and above you, and it just starts spinning, not super fast, just like spinning like there's someone's asleep at the wheel, and it slowly starts to come down, but it picks up more and more speed, descending. It doesn't spin faster, but eventually as it comes down, it's not going to like break into a million pieces, but as it finally settles, it lands a little hard on top of a tall pile of junk not too far from where you are. And you hear it like cool down and everything, and it's kind of landed like
I climb
at an
up
angle
and over to get to it, and very like using like a sleeve because I know it's gonna be cold. Like open the door, and I assume there's nobody inside as expected.
If you open the door, no one's inside, but it's the time circuits are off, and it sounds like the engine has been killed. So it's not currently on.
I will just.
Now,
for safety, I'm going to try it.
Okay.
Try to turn it on.
It's taking a second. Doesn't sound like it's starting right away. However, I was to give you a better understanding of like what kind of situation the car is in, is that you are on top of a pile of junk, and the nose is dipped down a little bit. You're not in danger of rolling down, but it's not a natural, driving angle. And even if you were to get the car started, you're not sure because it can't fly.
Right.
You're not sure you could just drive off of this pile of junk either. What would you like to do?
All right, I'm there. Does it seem like I'm in any immediate danger?
It's hard to tell because of this pile that you're on, and it's hard to get a view of the distance of anything beyond the nearest piles of junk that are around you.
Okay, I'm going to use the contacts in my phone, which are more elaborate than they've got data from all sorts of different timelines of mine. I'm going to call the McFly household.
Okay. I'll say as you call the McFly household, it rings. No one picks up, but then you'll hear the voice of sounds like older Marty, and it sounds like it's probably older Jennifer. And they're like, "Hey, you've reached the McFly household." And then you hear Jennifer's voice say, "Leave a message and we'll get back to you." Beep.
Marty, Jennifer, this is Kate. Hopefully you know why you're hearing from me. And whether you do or you don't, I need your help. There's a DeLorean in a junkyard out of where Lion Estates used to be, and I'm in it, and it is busted, and we need to get it the fuck out of here.
And then if that's it. You want to do that? I'll say...
my number is blah, blah, blah.
blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 yeah.
I'll say, so after you hang up, another large ship comes over, and it dumps, opens up its bay doors, dumps a large amount, not far from where you are. In fact, you get a little bit of splash from some goop. Some little goop covers up the DeLorean, and it's just kind of gross. Is the door still open to the DeLorean, or
I mean,
what?
I had it open. If that thing's coming, I guess I don't know. I'm not gonna.
It's not. You're not in danger of flooding or nothing like that. I just want to know.
I also don't want to be entombed in it.
Right. That's the other. You want to make sure.
Yeah.
But it didn't land on top of you. But now you're starting to realize, like that could happen at any time.
Yeah.
So I will say you start to hear. It sounds like one of the cranes is becoming active close to where you are, and it starts coming overhead. And you see lights. It takes up some junk near where you are, but some of the lights stay close to where you are, like it's sweeping your general area. And it looks like you're about to be scanned to see about getting picked up next.
Okay, well, I will be belligerently looking up at it with my arms crossed, hoping that it scans me as a life form. I can only hope and pray that science fiction works the way I think it does.
So as you stand there, this it starts to swing over, and it opens up really wide enough to where it's about to like surround you and the DeLorean. Like if it's about to land, it's not going to crush, but it certainly is going to like a claw hand, like the old claw games, is going to be around you and the DeLorean. So this large thing comes over, lands around you. And a little scanner light, like red light, whoop, scans, whoop, 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 and it will make a weird noise, and then shift itself like over to the side. It's gonna cut because the claws are still locked in place, and a little arm is gonna come down with a buzzsaw on it and start cutting a block around the DeLorean. Like it's going to scoop out just the DeLorean.
I get onto the hood of the DeLorean or whatever.
Avoiding the blade?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and give me a careful or a quick or something.
Okay. I will do it quick. I did a 4.
Okay, I'll say it's only one blade and it goes around in a certain way. So you like after it passes you and there's like a big cut in the junk below you.
Yeah.
You can jump past it. You jump on the hood of it.
I like whatever. Like the door's closed, so like if it's how tight is this square?
If you wanted to get in the DeLorean, you could.
Okay.
Or if you want to lay on the hood, however you want to do this.
I guess I'll climb my way up on the back of the DeLorean. That seems like the place with the most places to grab onto, depending on what happens with this thing. I know that being inside of it could trap me, and I don't want that. But I want to be in a position where it's like it is scanning me. It knows that I'm human, if that's even a thing. Clearly, it's done something different this time, so maybe I'm getting somewhere. I'm not sure. I also am thinking, like, maybe should I call, like, 911, whatever the equivalent is in this future? Like, should I place an emergency call to be like, my car crashed? So I guess I'll see what happens in the next immediate few seconds, and then see what I do.
In the next immediate few seconds, the claws that are around it will dig in, like, several layers underneath it. It looks like it's going to scoop out the junk underneath it. Almost like you're removing a sproutling, like a small baby tree. It's gonna pick it up, dig into the junk underneath it. So there's the DeLorean on top of this pile of junk. You're on top of the DeLorean, and it's gonna pick it up and just start swinging you over to where the conveyor belt is, and gonna drop you on the conveyor belt and then let go. You're not gonna fall. You're just already on this conveyor belt. So now you're on top of the DeLorean. DeLorean's on top of a little bit of junk. Junk is on top of a conveyor belt, and it's a straight shot to the Mr. Fusion reactor there.
Okay, I'm calling 911, or like double tapping the thing on my phone that like I know goes to an emergency like service.
Okay, just 911. You know, it's fine. I can't imagine they won't have 911 like in 2025.
You never know.
You dial 911 and you just hear 911. What's the location of your emergency?
I am at a big Mr. Fusion landfill, and my car has crashed, and now I'm on a conveyor belt. I think I'm about to be melted down.
Okay, ma'am. Do you know what section of the Mr. Fusion landfill that you are in? Are you in? There's quadrants 1 through 8. Do you know which section you are in?
I have no idea.
Okay,
it has scanned me, but I'm still on the conveyor belt.
Stand by. We are sending law enforcement. Just watch the skies. Wave anyone down as soon as you see them. In the meantime, I would suggest you get off of the conveyor belt.
This is a one-of-a-kind vehicle. I have to stay with it.
Ma'am, I suggest you get off of the conveyor belt if you want. You can always buy a new car.
I will be waving my arms for the police.
She says, "Okay, we have pinged your phone. We'll be checking your GPS. Just stand by." And so she'll hang up.
Okay, and I'm not going to get off the car. I'm going to stand on top of the car, as much as the stainless steel surface will allow, and watching the skies.
So as you stand on top of this, wait, are you standing on the DeLorean, or are you
yes,
like on the hood or on the back?
Yeah. How long do I think I have until this thing gets melted down?
Oh, we don't know what's going to happen once it gets inside the fusion reactor, but from the point that you cross the threshold into the tunnel is probably 3 minutes.
Jesus H. Okay, great. I'm going to be continuously watching the sky. Oh, maybe what can I do? I don't know what I can do. But I'm going to look inside the DeLorean real quick, open the door, and see if there's any way that I can quickly use my Omni tool to like remove the time circuits and the flux capacitor, like the key ingredients that I have to have.
Give me a clever.
Okay. Unfortunately, that's my best. One of my best. Yeah. The result is a 2.
I mean,
that's not my best.
The idea of removing the flux capacitor and the time circuits with your Omni tool, if you had an hour, I mean, like, you'd have to. I mean,
there's a lot of pieces. Obviously, I didn't think it was going to be easy, but I thought just maybe I can look in here and figure something out.
So I'll say what we then do is, as you're looking over this and you're looking at the tool you had in your hand, and this conveyor belt is chugging along nice and smooth like the people mover, as it gets towards the opening tunnel to what leads to the reactor. You're looking up, no sign of police or anything just yet, and the Omni tool certainly isn't going to help you. And as you're inside the DeLorean and it was not responding when you're turning on the keys or anything, we're gonna crane back and cut to black. And we're unfortunately going to have to leave it there for tonight.
Thanks for listening to Kate Was Here. To support this and other surprise RPG experiences, head to patreon.com/omniverse media.